Hello, welcome to my classroom here at Patchwork Cutters. Today I'd like to show you basic brush embroidery. The cutters I've chosen to use is our large Christmas rose set, and I'm going to use the flower and the two leaves from this set. They're a nice open design and it'll be very easy to use with brush embroidery. You will also need a damp cloth, a small amount of sugar paste, water and a small palette knife, a piping bag, small scissors and a number 3 piping nozzle, a number 6 paintbrush, and then when the brush embroidery has dried you'll also need some white luster dust, a dusting brush and some edible pearls. So to mix the icing we're going to need a small piece of the sugar paste just to make it pliable, and then we're going to add some water. So with a small palette knife begin to work the water into the sugar paste and keep paddling the paste until it is nice and smooth. The icing should have a nice shine to it, so just add a little more water. So the icing is now nice and smooth, and that will pass quite easily through a piping bag. So I'm going to take the water away, a piping bag, cut the end from that and pop in a number 3 piping nozzle, making certain the nozzle is well clear of the paper, and then gather the icing and place that into the bag, and then fold down both sides and the top, and that makes a nice pad to push against so that you have full control of how much icing comes out of the bag. So here I have a practice board, and I have embossed the flower and the 2 leaves into the icing, and then I would leave that to dry before I do the brush embroidery. You would do the same thing on the cake that you would be working on, and on here I have embossed the 2 flowers and the leaves, 3 leaves top and bottom, but what I've also done, I've embossed part of the leaf into the icing. So by pressing just on the end of the cutter and one on the other side, the leaves look as though they are behind the flowers without actually marking the petals themselves. So for the brush embroidery, it's quite a good idea to mark a little hole in the centre of the flower, and all the brush strokes will head towards that hole. And you start off by piping a line of icing onto the embossed outline. And then I'm going to take the brush. Now you always keep the brush damp, so you can take the excess off on the back of your hand, and you also don't allow a build-up of icing on the brush, and you start in the centre and you pull the icing down towards the centre of the flower. Take off any excess paste or any excess icing, and always keep the end of the brush clean. You would turn and work the second petal. So again, pipe around the outside edge covering the embossed line, and because this is the longest brush stroke I do add a little extra icing there, and that lays next to the first line, not on top of, so it's always in front of there, but they do really need to touch. And again, brush half of that piped line down so that you leave a thickened edge. Brush. You can see here I'm just getting a little bit of icing on the end of my brush. So into the water, take off the excess moisture and continue down towards the centre of the flower. And I'm going to go round the top. It is important to cover that embossed line. If your piping doesn't cover it, then use your damp brush to push it into place. And again, long sweeping strokes down towards the centre, and the next one. A little extra at the top. Clean the brush, take the excess moisture away, and again drag that icing down. But do leave not only a thickened edge but also a thickened line between the petals so that it doesn't look like one large flat flower. It does separate the petals from each other. And then the final petal will go around like so. And again, start in the centre and work out to the left and to the right with nice long sweeping strokes. And don't be afraid if you think you've got too much icing, don't be afraid to remove it from there. I can just see a little embossed part of the pattern, so I'm going to push the icing into that so that you can no longer see it. And for the leaf, I'm going to pipe along one side, and then because this is going to be my longest brush stroke, again a little extra down, halfway down, and follow the line of the veins. So you're not going across the leaf, you're going down towards the base of the leaf, like so. And then you pipe the opposite side, again covering the embossed outline, and brush this down again to